Nation states. Yes, nation states. They define our borders, our politics, and our sense of identity. But are they good or are they bad for the world? In this video, we'll explore the concept of nation states, break down their pros and cons, and ask, is the nation state idea just a bad initiative that needs to evolve? The nation state. Borders, flags, and that feeling of belonging to something bigger than just yourself. It sounds pretty simple and pretty dope, right? Well, a nation state is essentially a political identity where a distinct nation, a group of people with shared history, culture, language, and identity, governs itself within its own defined territory. Now, the idea of modern nation state really kicked off with the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648. This treaty set the stage for the concept of sovereign states with defined borders controlling internal affairs without outside interference. And today, the world is made up of nearly 200 of these political units. Think of them as individual countries on a global chessboard. And here's the kicker. Nation states are more than just geography. They shape our laws, our culture, and even our sense of who's in and who's out. So it's no surprise then that the concept of nation state has both fans and critics. So let's dive into the pros, cons, and why some think it's a bad initiative. What is a nation state? Alright, so what's the deal with nation states? Here's the basic concept. A nation state is a political unit where the boundaries of the nation, a group of people with shared culture, history, and language, match up with the boundaries of the state, a political entity with control over a defined area. Simple enough, right? France, Japan, Sweden, these are some textbook examples of nation states. Their populations mostly share a common identity, and the state exists to protect and promote that shared identity within clear borders. This model offers a sense of unity, self-determination, and pride. The nation-state model has been especially popular since the age of decolonization, when former colonies pushed to become independent and self-governed. It's all about having control over your destiny, your land, and your people. Who doesn't want that? But here's the flip side. While nation state can foster unity, they can also encourage exclusion. In a world where culture, economies, and ideas are more interconnected than ever, nation states can be a little, let's just say, old school. When we prioritize borders and national identities, we might just create more divisions in a world that needs cooperation more than ever. So, is the nation state model good or bad? Like most things in life, it's not so black and white. On the one hand, nation states offer a sense of belonging, control, and political stability. People like knowing they have a government that represents their values, protects their borders, and works for their interests. And hey, that's not a bad thing. National unity can inspire people. National unity can bring them together. National unity can even give them a shared identity to celebrate. But it's hard to argue with the pride that comes for having a flag and a national anthem. Hey, ask anyone cheering their team in the World Cup. Now the thing is, when nation states get too focused on who's in, who's out, as we discussed earlier, things can turn ugly. Nationalism, this idea that your nation is superior to others, can lead to exclusion, xenophobia, and in the worst case scenarios, war. We have seen it throughout history. When borders become rigid, the national identity becomes a wall. The national identity also becomes a war. And we all lose. There are no winners there. And don't forget, what about the people who don't fit neatly into one nation state? Think about refugees, migrants, and ethnic minorities. For them, the nation state can be more of a trap than a safe haven. It's like being stuck at a party where everyone inside is having a great time, but you're left outside because your name's not on the guest list. Alright, so now let's talk about why some folks see the nation state as a bad initiative. In an age where the world's biggest problems like climate change, global trade, and pandemics don't stop at borders, sticking to nation state model feels a bit outdated. The world needs cooperation, collaboration, and flexibility to tackle the big stuff. But the nation state model, it encourages us to think in terms of us versus them, with each state looking out for its own interests. That's great for national pride, but not so great when you need global solutions. Plus, the world is more interconnected than ever. Economies rely on global trade, people move across borders, crises like climate change affect everyone regardless of where they live. But the nation state model focuses on drawing lines both literally and metaphorically, and that can make it harder to find collective solutions. Finally, there's the issue of migration. As more people flee conflict, poverty, and environmental disasters, the rigid borders of nation states can turn into barriers for human survival. When national interest is prioritized above every else, compassion and cooperation often takes a back seat. So is the nation state model inherently bad? Well, not entirely and not exactly. It has its perk, but in a world that's facing global challenges like never before, the concept of nation states might just need an upgrade. Instead of drawing lines in the sand, maybe it's time to focus on cooperation, inclusivity, and finding common ground, literally and figuratively. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and share for more content, and have a great one.